Okay, I'm back. I put a little bit of just electrical tape on there. That's probably going to be fine. We are plugged in. Let's turn it on. We have a blinking red and green light. I don't know what that means. Let's press it. Oh, it's nothing. Okay. What if we hold it? Sometimes holding does things. We do have power though. That's good to know. Okay. Maybe we need to activate with our Team Fortress 2 medic device. It doesn't seem to be doing it. Okay. Let me pull up my phone real quick and Google Dyson power light flashing green red, because like that is, oh no, my phone's turned off. I think my phone got turned off in my pocket. All right, well, okay, this is clearly a problem beyond just having the cord removed, and that's okay. We might still be able to do something with it, but I think I would like to just try to Google this and see if somebody else knows already what the problem is. And if they do, happy days, things will be fixed rather quickly. And if they don't, then we'll get into researching it ourselves and inspecting and testing and experimenting some more. So this has been an extremely short return video, but there you have it. It's red and it's green and it's flashing, and we can't do anything with that for now. It just, the button doesn't work even if I hold it for a long time. Doesn't seem to do anything. And the Team Fortress 2 Doctor's melee weapon does nothing. So, time to Google and then experiment. We'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and after a quick Google search, there was some. Apparently, this model is only available in Japan, the DC22. There's probably other model numbers that are the same device available in other markets, but and while I didn't try to understand the Japanese completely perfectly, it could just be the fact that it's taken apart, and the filter and everything's not in here. So let's put together some of it as best as we think needs to be done, and then see what happens. So let's put the filter back in. There may be a switch that I'm not seeing, although I really don't see one. But it could be the case. Let's just go back in here. Well, there's still so much like hair and stuff. Vacuum that up later. There we go. Alright, so we're back on there with that. Now I'm missing something else. Probably the hose, and this front bit might need to be replaced. Maybe. Although I don't see any type of connector for the hose, and the front piece is not going to fit. I think. Well, maybe it will. From this side, yes. But again, I don't see any real connectors, so maybe it doesn't matter, but we'll just try reconnecting it and see what happens. Alright, there we go. I think that should be enough. Let's turn this back on. Okay, so we have a green light now. Okay. That seems to work.
That's really loud.
It is really loud, and I think it's probably because it's mostly taken apart, and so the sound just escapes. So, why did somebody throw this away when it seems to work okay? My guess is that it was clogged. All that stuff that I took out was very superficial, and it was just right there in the connectors where, you know, the things, the hoses and everything plug in. So I guess maybe they just didn't really try to clean their very expensive vacuum cleaner before they threw it away, which is unbelievably wasteful, but unfortunately common, I think, for people who don't know what they're doing. So I'm going to turn it on one more time, and try to control it with our medic weapon here, and see if that will make any difference. So forgive the noise, everyone. That seems to work all right. The correct button turned it off, and let's see what this plus minus button does. And I also want to just check and make sure that it is sucking and blowing in the correct places as well. Okay, so we have determined that the plus and minus button just goes basically high mode, low mode. The on-off button does work with turning it on and off, and it does seem to be sucking up through the input on the you know, the air intake. So my guess is that this thing actually works just fine. We just need to replace the cord, and since the shops where I can buy appropriate cords are closed now or closing soon, we will have to finish our repair probably tomorrow. But basically all it's going to entail is just putting a proper cord back on here and putting it back together. So this is basically a success, I would say. What was the problem? Clogs? I guess. It seems like it was just clogged. And if that's the case, it's a win for us, because we get a nice vacuum cleaner. And I'm sorry to the person who spent $500 or however much this thing costs, because they threw it away much too easily. But sometimes that's how it goes. So that's it for now. Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll replace the cord on this thing, and we will have a functioning Dyson vacuum cleaner. I hope we find the right width or gauge, I suppose you could say, wire, and the correct length. I don't know what the length of this thing is supposed to be, but I imagine that if you roll it up and then you kind of run out of space, that's probably as long as it's supposed to be. So we'll get back to that tomorrow. And for now, this is a working vacuum cleaner. Hello, and we are back to our Dyson vacuum cleaner repair. I have bought some cable that I hope is going to be appropriate for this. I mentioned yesterday, which is when I started to do this repair. So this is just the temporary replacement wire that I soldered to it so I could see if it worked. This original cabling, if you can see it, it has this this string in here that's designed to prevent tension on the wires. I could not find cable like this. I did buy the 1.2 millimeter cable, so it should be an appropriate wattage, but it doesn't have this stress relieving string inside, and well, we'll just have to do without it. And I suppose if it ever has another problem, we fix it, because that's what we do. We don't throw things away. We fix them if possible, and if we can't fix them, then we recycle them into, well, upcycle them into something else. Okay, so let's, I bought 5 meters, and I'm assuming that's going to be too much, but I didn't know exactly how long the original cable was and how much we'll need, so I bought a little extra. And but if we can get the whole 5 meters to fit in there, I think that's going to be probably better than the original, just because 5 meters of cable is extremely useful. I think it's quite far. So our main thing that we have to do now is figure out how to take this thing apart safely, because this spooled up steel in here, which is for the automatic retraction, is a little bit dangerous. If I open that and it just pops out, it could easily cut flesh or poke eyes or that kind of thing. So we need to try to figure out the best way to get it off. I don't think we actually need to take this side off at all, because as I look at it, you can see this part is clear. This side just holds the steel, so we don't really need to do anything with that, I don't think. What we need to do is perhaps open this side, but this side looks far more unlikely to come apart so far. But there must be something here. Let's just inspect a bit. So, okay, of course this side spins because this is the side that locks in. It has our release button and everything on it. So this part stays stationary down inside while the rest of it comes off. So maybe it just pops off like the last part did, but if I break this, then we're in a whole heap of trouble. So we need to investigate carefully. Looks like, no, it's not. And actually, I can see some wire coming through this hub here. I wonder if I have to take this hub apart to get the whole thing apart. It might be the case. At which point our steel might pop out, so we'll just be extremely careful while doing so. Try to keep that steel in place. Don't want it to pop out, really. I'm just using my thumb now to kind of pry this up. Some nails, using both of them. Okay, let's keep at it. Keep applying the pressure. Alright, halfway-ish around. Still looking good. Alright, there's only a couple left. Oh, I pushed some back in. These tabs are so annoying. I really wish they would just put a screw. But they don't build things to be repaired anymore. They build things to be thrown away. Which is exactly what happened to this thing. And it got thrown away way too prematurely if they just simply cleaned it. My guess is that this was probably owned previously. Since I don't know where it was found or anything, my guess is that it was owned previously by a company, maybe a business of some sort, where for them, if they can't get it to work, the easiest thing is just throw it out and buy a new one, especially if it's past warranty. And if it's, for example, like a department store or something, they probably have no idea of how to repair things, and for them it's far more effective to just buy a new one. They've got plenty of money. If it was like a home and a housewife threw it out or something, she doesn't know how to repair things, and possibly she also has plenty of money, then that could be another reason why somebody would throw out a perfectly good vacuum cleaner that just has some stuff clogged in the end of the hose. Well, every time I pop off one side, the other side goes back down. I need to find something. Aha! I still have my little yellow pry bar here. My blue pry bar here. I didn't mistake the color. I just said the wrong word for whatever reason. Alright. Let's, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. This is really annoying. Alright, let's put some serious pressure on there and see if that helps. I have a feeling like this whole thing is just gonna shoot these steel spools out everywhere, and it's gonna smack me in the face and cut me up, and that sounds terrible. But who knows, it might happen. Try not to let it happen. Alright. Starting to get there, I think. Getting close. I had to let go. There we go. Wait, no, it popped back in over here. Wow, this is annoying. I might have to get multiple pry bars. I can't seem to keep all fingers where they need to be all at the same time, but I don't want to step away just yet. Come on! Okay. Let's see. I'll be right back. I've got to buy. Not buy, but I just got to grab a few more things to pry with. Okay. I grabbed another couple of these things and then a few screwdrivers as well. I've replaced a few screens on phones, and so these things always come with the kits. Oh, but they're just falling out now. Okay, what if we go in from the top where perhaps things are less likely to fall out? And let's get under the metal. That'd be good, just in case. Alright, but this doesn't have an opening. There's one though. Alright. Now I wonder, because it seems like this metal all wants to come out with it, if I'm prying the metal apart from the thing that it's actually holding it, that might be why. But again, that's hard to say for sure, but I think I just one more. Oh, that's so close. Why is it not coming off? I can see the stress marks from the tabs that I'm pressing. They're not enjoying being pried apart like this. Let's stop that for a second. I don't want to break this. It looks like it's made out of really, really weak plastic. It says PPMD40. My guess is that PPMD40 means garbage. Let's see. Why would that not? There's something holding it here in the middle. Maybe this unscrews. Maybe in the opposite direction you would expect, but no. Does it just pry off? No, maybe not. Okay, well, let's give another look at this thing. These types of problems are common when you're dealing with poorly manufactured goods. Some people might disagree with me. They would say this is the mark of good craftsmanship, but I think anything that's not easily repairable is very poorly manufactured. Okay, well there we go. Got that out of there. Maybe that'll help. How is this thing connected? There's also a bit of a... Oh wait, look, things are spinning around now that that button is out. There we go. A little bit. That doesn't seem like it was actually held in there by anything. How did that even... it's a type of a brake, I think. As it moves around, it okay, can you see that perhaps? The inner black plastic is not completely round. And so as this little rubber brake slides, it loses space to move, and then when it reaches a very extreme point in the black plastic, then it stops everything. So that's interesting. That's a very clever way to make that. I like that. Let's see. Can we get this thing off? Why is this white plastic attached? How is it? It looks like maybe if I can apply some, I don't want to break it of course, but it looks like if you can apply some pressure you can possibly get the white plastic out, but maybe not. Snap together build is the worst. Oh no, that's not good at all. We've got there we go, let's do that, because otherwise our inner cables are getting wound around, and that's not good. We're going to break those. If you design things with snap together plastic, I understand where you're coming from, because you probably are under some cost restraints and orders from higher ups, but you're doing a disservice to pretty much the entire world. And I, for one, as a upcycler and reuser of all things, I don't appreciate it. Alright, let's have another look here. I really don't see how this clear plastic can come out, except that it is, it probably has a tension hook on the inside of this hub, but the problem is that you can't quite pry it towards the center to make it removable, but maybe if I apply downward pressure as well as lateral pressure, I might. No, not really, although it looks like perhaps it's moved. No. Now, right now I'm feeling like, let's get this hair out of here, because that's nasty. I feel like this little center hub should somehow be removable, because I don't see anything that it's actually attached to. It just seems like it's just floating there, but well, my father told me a long time ago that if it takes a lot of effort, you're probably doing it wrong. You shouldn't have to try so hard to to do something, and he's completely right. And look, I just broke off a bit of my pry bar. Oh man, this is stupid. All right, let's look. I'm damaging this really cheap, terrible, crappy plastic. All right. What if this is capable of? Let's just turn it for a second and see. You know what? There are these, well, they don't move as much as I was hoping. This is basically a part that we really need to be able to get apart, because we have to replace the wire. And of course it's all wound in there to relieve stress, which is good. But we have to get it out of there. I'm tempted at this point to just cut this wire, and then I can resolder it just in the middle. It doesn't need quite so much excess. I could just resolder it and put some heat shrink on it, and that would allow me to kind of move everything else out of the way and just focus on this thing. But to be, I don't know, I feel like it's not that much in the way, really. I gotta work on this thing one way or another, and here we are working on it. So I'm gonna try again with this piece that seems like it pops out. I'm gonna stick my slightly broken shim into that spot so it doesn't come undone. I'm gonna grab another one and start prying around. Stick that one there. Grab another one. Where'd my third one go? I had one. Well, oh, here it is on the bottom. Okay. Not as. Oh man, this one falls out. Why? Because I broke you? Is it revenge? Oh, this plastic looks like it's about to break. It really does. Crappy plastic. Let's make things out of decent materials again. Let's give up on plastic. I love 3D printing, but it's just compounding the problem, to be honest. Plastic is not the answer to pretty much anything. I suppose there are some uses that plastic has that you can't find anywhere else, but overall, I am not a fan of plastic. What a bunch of garbage. As the Great Pacific Garbage Patch very well demonstrates, plastic is garbage. And I suppose flexibility has its benefits. No doubt about it. Something to flex and not break, that's very useful. If something can come apart without breaking, that's also very useful. And plastic is not very good at coming apart without breaking. Perhaps by design. Oh. Alright, so definitely this top part does not come off as is. I think we have to remove this part first, because this thing seems to be what keeps holding everything else on. And okay, I need a second. I'm getting frustrated and I'm ready to start breaking things, but if I break things, they're never going to go back together properly. This is not going to work well. And we won't have the auto retract, which might not be the worst problem in the world, but I would like to have it. Perhaps now you're thinking, why doesn't he just solder on to the wire like he did before? And I'm thinking the same thing. Why don't I just solder onto here? I'm a little bit afraid that it might not be strong enough, but it might be just fine. And seems to hold quite well. I can always heat shrink it. Alright, for lack of a better solution, and for not wanting to destroy what we have, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to solder right onto the end of this, even though this sheathing is really screwed up right there. I think what I'll do is I'll run a piece of heat shrink over that bit of sheathing and very lightly heat it up and see if that will reinforce this weak point, and we'll get a good solder on these things, and we'll deal with what garbage has given us. Okay. Wow, what a waste of time. I spent 20 minutes accomplishing nothing, but sometimes that's how it goes when you're trying to repair something, especially something that is not made extremely well. It seems to be made pretty well, but based on all this plastic, it doesn't really meet. Well, let me qualify this. When I build something, it's usually just good enough. It's not very good, to be honest. And I build something with the concept that if it breaks, I can repair it. And so I don't build things very well myself. But when you're building something for mass production, and you're designing something as a professional, maybe it's just me, but I kind of expect it to be a little bit better than this. Especially when this thing, and I looked it up last night, this particular vacuum cleaner was originally 60,000 yen, which is more or less $600. $600 for a vacuum cleaner is stupid. You can buy a vacuum cleaner for $100 or $200, and it will do more or less the same job, but it maybe won't look quite as fancy, but I really think it'll do about the same job. And if you build a vacuum cleaner for $600, 60,000 yen, you should really do a better job than using a whole bunch of crappy plastic. Plastic that, while trying to be repaired, tends to more or less fall apart. Then you're really just giving the middle finger to everyone and saying, screw you guys, we got your money, ha ha, screw off. So I don't know, from having opened this thing and worked on it a bit, I'm not a big fan of Dyson, and I can only assume that the person who threw it away after a small clog is also not a fan of Dyson, because if you threw this thing away because of a small clog, I guess that clog might not have been easy enough to unclog, and so then you have some problems with your usability, but that's okay. Alright, this whole project just turned out to be very frustrating or disappointing, one of those things, somewhere in between, but that's okay, because we're still going to get it to work, and we're still going to save a whole lot of money by having a working Dyson for free. Well, actually, this new cable that I bought cost about, let me just take it out real quick. The new cable with a plug cost 695 yen. So that's not so bad. we just have to make sure that we get it all put together properly. And that's the same with the cable and everything. We just have to make sure that we get it put together properly so that it won't break again really easily. So, okay. Whew. That's a long video to accomplish nothing, but we have decided some things and discovered some things and have lamented some things. And from here on, it should just be smooth sailing. So I will end this video for now, and we will grab some heat shrink to clean up our cabling job, and we'll probably, I don't know, either heat sink the entire thing, or maybe tape it up so that we can get some good compression, which might help prevent stress. Eesh. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about that, but not so much. I mean, we can always just be careful. All right, so let's end this video for now, and I'll be back soon, and we'll finish up this fix. All right, see you later.